like a couple seconds behind.
With no hope here, I keep pulling my pins close, but I keep pulling my foes nearer. Overlord, overseer, got that audio for those openings. You've been about for a couple of weeks, now you're acting like you're supposed to be. All the keys are open season. Man like me, he's so demeaning. Been about since them jungle days, ain't about to nothing, let's get to eating. About you, about a beating. About these sheets, I'm about to eat them. About the beef, and I'm out of season. Yeah, these fools don't need a reason. Get with the done turn up the
What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You just saw my meet footage from the American Pro 2. Before we get into talking about that, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave any questions you have for me in the comment section below. And as always, if you guys need help with your training, don't forget to check out Proven Strength app. Link for that is in the description below. You get access to 20 plus programs designed by myself and Andy, power building, 3, 4, 5 day programs ranging from beginner, intermediate, advanced, as well as the program I used leading up to the American Pro, and power building and bodybuilding style training as well. You also get added to our private Discord where you can ask questions, get form checks, talk about training, all that fun stuff. If you are using the app, don't forget to tag myself and Proven Strength on Instagram so we can share your videos. Now, before we talk about my own training, there's a few performances I want to highlight from the weekend. As a fan of powerlifting, it was a really fun day to watch, a couple days to watch. So I think the number one highlight from the weekend was definitely the women's day 3 wrap primetime session. You had some just insane performances. Specifically, Christy Hawkins, she hit the highest dots ever performed raw, which is just insane. She's been a veteran for the game for quite some time. I've competed against her many, many times, and it's always amazing to watch her compete. Then, same session, you also had Samantha Rice, who ended up taking second, and she hit a 291 deadlift, which, if you guys know, is the heaviest deadlift ever performed by a female. And just kind of tied into Brianna Terry, who also hit that number. So Samantha hit it first. Brianna is a little bit lighter. It's toss up between who has the highest deadlift of all time, but both of them, in their own credits, had just a phenomenal performance, and they both deserve credit for what they did. As well as on that day, Chad Penson, he took first in the men's wrap division, a good friend of mine, and he also is coming back from a double quad injury that happened, what was that, about 8 months ago or so. So to come back from that and put it all together, he even re-injured his quad a little bit on his second squat, so he had to scratch his second and third, or his third squat. And at that point, I know he was pretty down, but he ended up continuing with the day and ended up pulling out the win. And then on my day, there were a couple performances I really want to highlight, which would be Juwan Garrison, who set the all-time world record at 181, which, as you guys know, that's a record that I hold close to my heart. So whenever to see that get broken, it's always exciting. And I'm excited to see what he can do coming up to the 198s. And then finally, my training partner, Pat, who competed in the primetime session with me, he went 9 for 9, ended up pulling 395. I think he's only like 22 or something. And he's really grown a lot this past year as a lifter, and he has a bright future ahead of him. So that kind of covers like the highlighted performances that really caught my eye. Obviously, like tons of other people had amazing performances, but those were just kind of the ones that I was personally really excited to see and got me really hyped for competing again. All right, now to head into my own training and competition. So I didn't really post too much on here leading up to the competition, and the reason for that was, unfortunately, I sustained a couple injuries about 3 weeks out. So on what was supposed to be my second to last heavy squat day, I came in feeling, I'd just flown, got in at about 11 p.m., tried to come in the next morning to do my second to last heavy squat. The plan was to go 792, 799. I can't remember exactly what I hit, but warm-ups, I was feeling pretty kind of lightheaded, almost like just not focused at all, and probably should have called that 760, but 760 moved pretty well, so I decided, I was like, I think I could still hit 799. Fortunately, I just lost all my core stability on the way down, and coming out of the hole, probably should have just given up there, but I tried pushing through it. Spotters saved me. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then later that night, I was just kind of laying in bed. I started moving my knee and realizing like how stiff it was getting, and it just kept progressing throughout the night. And by the morning, I could walk on it, but it was definitely a little painful, and especially like stairs and stuff like that, like uphills, downhills were pretty uncomfortable. And that had me pretty nervous about squatting. So between that and then for what was supposed to be my last heavy deadlift, the knee was kind of bugging me a little bit, and I was a little nervous about that day. But each warm-up was moving pretty fine, and then I got to 826, which was going to be my second to last warm-up, and unfortunately it felt just a ripping sensation in my glute on that set. And then I was hoping maybe I could push through it, like it wasn't that bad. And then I went 870 or 880 for my last warm-up and ended up just feeling it tear a little bit more, so I decided to call it there. So about 3 weeks out, had some pretty bad injuries that just basically killed all of the momentum in this prep that I had, which really sucks because overall it was a really good prep. But fortunately it happens. Did everything I could to try and heal those injuries, lean into the meet. Got a bunch of deep tissue work done, adjustments, ice, rest, stuff like that. But really couldn't squat or deadlift for those last 3 weeks. I basically didn't squat at all for 3 weeks. I was able to hit a couple deadlift sessions, but they moved okay, but I just didn't have great confidence in my glute going into the meet. And to be honest, I considered pulling out and maybe finding a meet like 4 weeks later, because I was like, if I had an extra 4 weeks, I'd feel confident again. But couldn't do it. I was too excited for the American Pro, and I'm glad I stuck with it. But it would have been nice to have had a little bit extra time to heal and maybe put up the performance I was really hoping for. So that said, I guess we can talk about the actual meet day now. So the weight cut leading into it was actually super, for the most part, easy, I'd say. For most of the prep, the second half of prep when I get on Androl, I was weighing around like 218, which is like perfect for a weight cut for me, about 20 pounds. I've gotten pretty efficient at it. 2 weeks out, unfortunately, I had a work trip that kind of just came up all of a sudden, and I did not eat the best that week, and I got up to 220, which once I get above that 218 threshold is kind of when I start getting a little nervous about the weight cut, and the 220 was kind of hard to get back off at that point, and I thought maybe it was going to affect my weight cut, but overall it really didn't affect it too much. It was still a pretty easy cut. I did like the later weigh-in time, so I was able to do some of the sauna sessions at Thursday night, get a little bit of sleep that night, and then come back Friday morning and finish off the last like 6 or 7 pounds I need to do at that point. And yeah, it was overall pretty easy. Got a couple IVs after weigh-ins, filling out the weight class again, went super well. I do like I do have to say I did like the afternoon session weigh-in, and the competition being in the afternoon was a little bit different. I definitely felt a little bit more tired during the day, and just like mentally, like that's kind of when I start to like wind out. I usually lift a little bit earlier in the day, so if I were to do it again, I might see if I can get like an Adderall or something to help with the energy throughout the day. But overall, I think it was a positive. I'll start with squats then. As I said, dealing with the injury, I really didn't squat at all for 3 weeks. So I did not know what squats were going to be like at all. I put my original plan opener of 705 in, and with the thought that I'll warm up, I'll kind of see if my knee's bugging me, see if my glutes bugging me, and if that's the case, I'll have to drop my opener. But fortunately, each of the movements were moving pretty well. I gotta say I wasn't like confident on any of my warm-ups or any of my attempts, but the weight just kept moving, so we kept going up. But I guess we just kind of stuck with the plan. Went 705. That moved super well. It didn't feel great, but it moved super well. So we stuck with the original plan, 760 for my second. Again, it moved well. It didn't feel great, but it moved well. So at that point, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I think that's a 198 record or PR for me, maybe right around it, tied it, I don't remember. But I'll just throw the 799 on, and again, it moved pretty decent. I actually kind of lost a little bit of my core tightness on the way down again, but was able to kind of recover it, come up with it. Depth was like borderline, but I kind of sunk the first two. And when you get to that weight, you have 5 spotters that are kind of crowding the platform. Makes it hard for the judge to see, and if you have a good judge, they usually give it to the lifter in that case, and I think I got a little lucky there, and yeah, I'll take it. It wasn't close enough where I would be pissed about the depth. So that said, it was an overall really good experience after squats. I started feeling a little bit better about how the day was going, and at that point, maybe 2300 was still on the board. Then we went on to bench, which the meet was moving kind of quick since it was just a two flight meet. Usually I like a 3 flight meet personally, just to give a little bit extra time in between like squat and bench to like eat, rest, chill a little bit. But it was moving a little bit quicker than normal. So that might have affected the bench a little bit, and my energy kind of like crashed a little bit at that point during the day. It was kind of getting later in the afternoon when normally I'm done training, so that could be part of it. But warm-ups weren't feeling super the best. Took my opener, was not super thrilled with it. Still took the planned second because I'd always opened super light, and the second was going to be kind of the more gauge. So the 550 again did not move great, but the safe bet would have been going 257.5. Would have felt confident in that, but 260 was really like the bare minimum that I felt I needed to hit on bench to even give me a chance at 2300. So took a shot at it. Unfortunately, it was just too much, which is like really disappointing because bench has always been my bread and butter, and to miss my third bench in my last 2 meets really weighs on me, and I'm really gonna focus on bench this off season. So got to get that back on track and hopefully come back and hit that 600 bench at 198. But if I can put that together with the 800 squat, maybe go for the squat all-time world record at 804, probably hold it for a little bit until Juwan breaks it, and then say I had all 3 single lift records as well as the total record, would be a cool experience. If I can put those 2 together, plus a nice deadlift, I think 2300 is going to be a breeze. But finishing up with deadlift, again, I was starting to kind of feel like starting to come down in energy at that point. It was pretty late in the afternoon, or starting to get kind of evening time, and just didn't feel like I had the energy, and also missing my third bench kind of brought me down a little bit. So I wasn't super excited for the meet at that point, and warm-ups felt okay. Took the opener at 826, 375 kilos. Moved okay. Didn't move fantastic, but moved okay. So we took the planned second of 395. And the plan was to go 415 at that point, but 395 just did not feel good. I was starting to feel my glute again a little bit, which had me a little bit nervous. So we just went for 12.5, small meet PR, and came out for the third attempt. Gave it a good pull, but unfortunately, about halfway up, I started feeling my glute tear again, and had to call it at that point. For the most part, it's not terrible, but I'll probably just have to take like a week or 2 off of squat and deadlift. I tried squatting earlier this week, and it didn't go super great. So I think it'll heal okay, but it's frustrating to have such a good prep for deadlifts and then have it just kind of ripped away at the end. So, but that's part of the game. I think the biggest thing with like the strongman is that I only did 2 meets this year, and they were both kind of, by my standards, subpar. And because of that, I'm really frustrated and looking forward to getting back on track and making 2024 a much better powerlifting year for me. So going forward, we'll kind of keep these videos going with like the off-season training. It's going to be a lot of volume. I'll probably upload that program on Proven Strength as well. so you guys can follow along with that. Might throw in a little bit of strongman movements like yoke and farmer's carries on my deadlift day, just to kind of get a little bit cardio. And also I did feel like it helped a lot with like my squat walkouts. By far, this is like the best my squats have felt in a meet. As you guys, if you guys see my old lifting videos, you can tell that squats are always super unstable, but they felt amazing this prep. And luckily the Ghost Clash, which is my next full power meet, is going to be switching all to Kabuki bars, which I do much better with on squats than Texas bars. So have that to look forward to. Gonna be a fun off season. I'll keep you guys posted on what that's gonna look like, and we'll catch you in the next video.
You can use your mind. 'Cause all we got is